Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast for the second week in a row. We're taping on a Saturday. It is Saturday, March the 18th. We're in the midst of March Madness right now. And we got two games for you in the NCAA tournament on Sunday the 19th that we're going to give you free picks on. And without further ado, today's guest, and I'm glad to have him because he's a very busy man, not only during this time, but all year long in the sports betting industry, Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com. Doug, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Ross. And hey, this is the weekend, Doug. You know, a little less shaving. Got the hats. Not always a Doc's hat, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah. So from that standpoint, it's all good. And hey, we've had two really exciting and crazy days of college basketball, and so we're gonna just dive right into it here again. Then for Sunday, while everything is going on Saturday here.
Yeah. We saw some upsets in the first round, first round to me is Thursday and Friday.
Right.
The play in.
Well, it is called the first round now because they came up with the other name, first four.
Oh,
So
okay. So good,
that,
because
yes.
I never understood when a team played the first game, they were in the second round already.
Right.
In any event, Doug, some interesting things we're seeing. The low scores in these games in the first round were evident, and even in the what do you call it, first four.
Yes.
You're talking 36 games have been played so far in the NCAA tournament. And again, we're recording on Saturday, early Saturday, so we don't know what's gone on in the Saturday games. So in case you're viewing this video at a later date, take that into account. But 26-10 to the under the first 36 games of the tournament. I guess some of it could be attributed to nerves, but I mean, again, I haven't seen those types of proportions in the first round in quite a while. And I'll stick to my guns. We've discussed this on numerous occasions when we saw trends like this in college football and the NFL, that eventually things even out, especially when they're as lopsided as they are. I would not be shocked to see 60% or more of the second round games go over the total, just based on that, without looking at another thing. Any other observations from you or your thoughts on that particular topic?
Yeah, well, in that, I don't know. I understand. I agree with your general principle on that, and then part of that, though, also is the odds makers. They don't want everybody just pounding under, so they're going to drop some numbers, okay,
Yeah.
just across the board, and they're going to shave points wherever they can. But as to the reason why, I think it's very simple. The reason why, okay, you watch all these games, okay, who's running offense? Okay, I mean, who runs an offense anymore?
Yeah.
What all you see is you got five guys on the perimeter in a semicircle, and what they do is they basically run the pick and roll basically off the top of the key or just either side of that. And then they sometimes then what they call the fake pick and roll, where the guy comes up the screen and he immediately rolls to the basket and they try and dump the ball on. Well, these teams, you don't get to this point with pretty much without having at least a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
And so with the lack of offense, and then with the game the way it's played today, and the game is played to where you try and create situations where you beat your man, okay, or you get a screen, you get a pick, and then you run around it. That's all it is. There's really not, in terms of quote unquote set plays, there's almost none anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them might be set plays, but they're indistinguishable compared to what they used to be. And the execution of these things too. So you add up all that together, I'm not surprised at all. And the absolute worst game yesterday was Pittsburgh and Iowa State.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. It was, I mean, the shooting what Iowa State was pathetic. That's besides itself, is that they didn't move. Okay. They passed the ball around the perimeter. So without going deeper into this, that's my reasoning as to why. And that's part of the problem is nobody's executing their offenses proficiently against better defenses. And right now the defenses are so far ahead, it's not even funny.
Yeah, the lack of movement it strikes me the most offensively. It seems like when a design called play does work, it's usually out of a timeout. You don't see it in the natural course of a game. So that seems to be the way of the world. Too many teams rely heavily on their ability to knock down 3-point shots. And again, you have to play good defense to get to this point. At least that good a defense to get to the Sweet 16 and beyond. And if you look at the statistics and you look at tempo, the teams, there's a lot of teams that do play at a frenetic pace that are in the top 20 in that type of category, but most of them aren't in the NCAA tournament. They're exciting to watch. With that frenetic pace, they try to force a frenetic pace for the other team as well. And most of them succeed. And if you look at their defensive numbers, it's they're not very good. So you're got to look for a team right now that's equally balanced. One of them I'm going to talk about today in Marquette, who's right up there nationally in terms of adjusted offense and defense. I'm going to be looking at the Michigan State Marquette game, and I'm really interested to hear what Doug has to say about the St. Mary's and UConn game on Sunday. Seems to me a little bit of contrast in style. UConn, I don't know if they play at a frenetic pace, but they seem to be much more athletic, where St. Mary's is methodical, calculated, and very disciplined. And how they do. And the thing I'm going to ask Doug when he gets into this game, and he's going to very shortly, is St. Mary's defensive statistics, are they a little bit askew just because of the methodical, slow, plodding pace they play offensively, or is that a little bit misleading? Or are they? Go ahead, Doug.
No, I'm sorry. I don't think they're misleading because they've, under Randy Bennett, their coach, they've primarily always played pretty good defense.
Yeah.
And the one thing that's different, and this was shown quite a bit in that game against VCU, what they're really good at is passing guys along. So if teams are kind of stationary and not moving a lot, or even if they do, they're just able to, and that's just a basketball term, where they pass along. So you defend one guy, you go to the next, because they have a lot of guys that are of similar height, other than their main point guard and their center. So they can switch, okay, and pass guys along. And they're very good also when teams try to run that pick and roll up high. What they do is they attack it. And so that's one of the things and what I mean by that, attack it. So if the guy comes up to set that pick and he either goes slowly, the other guy that's supposed to be picked, they attack the dribbler. And by attacking him, his options are to back up with the ball. He doesn't have a clear path to pass. And so taking time off the shot clock. So he either has to then pass it, which is further back, and then along with that, probably getting an errant shot that's taken at a longer distance because the clock is running down. So they're really good at that. And in the first game against Gonzaga, they did it expertly in the double overtime win that they had. And that's, I'm sure you'll look, if Connecticut runs that type of offense again, and they don't run as much as other teams, but when they do, they'll definitely go after them.
Yeah. And sometimes they double the, if they see the pick and roll happening, they'll send a second guy out to the guard that's handling the ball at that particular time, and that makes it an even tougher decision. So again, we're looking at UConn as a 3.5 point favorite. The total is 129. St. Mary's was impressive in their opening win, and so was UConn for that matter. I mean, UConn, yes, they played Vermont, but Vermont was a popular pick. It's an upset pick in a lot of NCAA tournament brackets with the so-called experts. And quite frankly, UConn just outclassed them and just was too athletic, too fast. And I'm not so sure they don't hold the same advantage over St. Mary's team. Now, St. Mary's compared to Vermont is night and day, okay? The competition level they play at, even though it's in the West Coast Conference. And they did play a pretty good non-conference schedule as well, St. Mary's. So 3.5 and 129 I have, Doug, as a consensus line. What's your thoughts on who you like in this game, whether it be a side or a total?
Well, you know what? I'll give you both. How about that? Extra bonus Saturday. How about that? So, all right. So, so we talked about St. Mary's defense. It's good. Okay. Now, the other thing offensively, they're not, like I said, they play slower. They only average 71 points per game. But the one thing that they're really good at, and it was clear against VCU, is that their players are paying attention. And what I mean by that is if the guys on the weak side, so the ball handlers on one side of the floor, then there's the weak side, the guys are continually cutting to the basket. And VCU was late in paying attention to cuts. And so they got a lot of layups, okay, just because of that. So look for them to utilize that also against Connecticut. And that's what good offensive teams do, is that, they run stuff, they run the shot clock down, but then they're actually doing something. They're just not standing and waiting for a 3-point shot. So that's one thing that I like that they have. Now, Connecticut, this year, Ross, I think you'll agree with me. They've had 3 seasons. Okay.
Yeah.
14-0. Okay. Number 1 team in the country, lost 6 of their next 8, all in the Big East. And now 10-2, 9-3 against the spread after beating Iona yesterday. So just a, completely different team. And to me, the difference is that I think they thought they were the number 1 team and they thought they were that good. And so the effort started to decrease. And Danny Hurley, I don't know if he lost the team, but he just didn't have their attention, and a little more selfish play. After losing that many games, he got their attention again. So I think that was a big difference, okay, in this. Now, I think the tempo is going to be important. And one of the things that I looked up on this, so we got 129. I think you said 129
Yes.
is a total,
Yes.
and 3.5. So roughly what we're talking about here, based on we're talking 66, 63, 67, 63 for a score, with Connecticut winning. This year, when Connecticut scores 70 or less points, they are 2-4 straight up. When St. Mary's falls below 70 points this year, they're 9-6 straight up. So by the number, that suggests that St. Mary's might have some advantages. But to me, the other thing I look at, that both teams only give up 5 threes a game, but St. Mary's makes 7 and Connecticut makes 9 a game. So I take that, and then I look at the 2 points, okay, part of the game. And here we got Connecticut, 57th in the country in 2-point field goal percentage. St. Mary's 147th. Okay, so significant difference there. So for my money, Ross, I'm going to suggest to take UConn minus the 3.5. Okay, for that, I think they're going to get over 70 points as well because of that, which then leads me to the total, where I think that I'll give you a score, 73-67 for St. Mary's, which takes us well over the 129. So there you go. The over and UConn for the round 32 game that we're talking about right here.
Yeah, sounds good to me. So Doug likes UConn minus the 3.5 over St. Mary's. He also likes the UConn and St. Mary's game over the total of 129. So like I said, these overs got to start cashing now. And Doug's going to help us out with that over. I like that play. So again, that's what Doug Upstone has. I'm going to take a look at the Michigan State and Marquette game. Doug, Marquette's minus 2.5, by the way. Michigan State is coming off a 72-62 win over USC, but that's a USC team to me that was Jekyll and Hyde down the stretch. Good team, not a great team. Pac-12, good conference, not a great conference. Pretty top heavy in my estimation with UCLA and Arizona. And then there's the rest. USC maybe being in the top 3 or 4 in that conference. But to me, the Big East is a vastly underrated conference this year. You look at the quality of teams, especially in the top 5 or 6 in that conference, and they stack up pretty good against everybody, but maybe the Big 12. Definitely better than the ACC. The SEC, they may fall a little short of them, but not by much. But my point being is Michigan State, after that win against USC, we must consider they're still 8-8 straight up in their last 16 games. It's not like they're playing great basketball. And a matter of fact, they've gone 2-6 straight up in their last 8 after a win. So they've had a hard time putting back-to-back solid efforts together. Again, I bring up the straight up number because this line is 2.5. And currently the money line is minus 145. I don't really like to get into that area over 140, Doug. But I'm going to suggest that if you can get 140 or less, that's the way I'd want to go with Marquette. This is a Marquette team. Also, they covered as a 10-point favorite over Vermont yesterday, 78-61. That makes them winners of 10 straight, 15 of their last 16 and 20 of their last 22 against some pretty good competition. And also to keep in mind is Marquette is 16-1 straight up this year as a money line favorite. So when they're favorites, they've only been upset once all year as a favorite. And if you, like I said, if you can get 140 or less, take the money line. Otherwise, Marquette right up to -4 is good with me. I'm going to go with Marquette here, though, at the current line of -2.5. And like I said, the only reason why I'm not giving out the money line right now, I don't like to stretch it beyond 140 like some guys do. But they're at 145 now. If they do come down to 140 or less, use the money line, folks. So it's Marquette for me over UConn. And Doug, he's very generous today. He is giving you 2 winners in UConn -3.5, and also the UConn and St. Mary's game over 129. Those are our free picks for Sunday, March the 19th in the NCAA tournament. Doug, tell the folks what you may have coming up, and if there's any good streaks we need to pay attention to.
Yes, well, so right now it's in a variety of things. So seeing that we're, like you said, earlier in the day on Saturday, I got a 5-unit best bet going tonight for tonight's college basketball action. That's available, of course, at the Doug Upstone page at Doc Sports. Ross's absolutely favorite subject to discuss is the XFL, and so I know he's interested in this one. So I have a 6-unit best bet going tonight. I've won each of the last 3 weeks. I'm up $1,000 in terms of units on this one. I had a 5-unit winner, so I got a 6-unit winner going tonight on that. Then 18-10 run in the NBA. So that's been nice, and so I do have a play tonight that I like but just continue. There'll be something tomorrow. There might even be a big play on tomorrow, obviously, once we see what the numbers are. And hockey continues to do well, Ross. And I got a smoking hot 2-pack that for 2 games that are in Saturday night action. So if you happen to see this video Saturday night, give me a look. It's $30 for the 2 games. So it's a great deal. So yeah, it's all good. And so just got to try and make it happen here on a big Saturday, a fun Saturday. This is like really the last big weekend for a large volume of games, that we'll have for some time. Yes, we'll have baseball and then hockey and the playoffs in April, the NBA playoffs, but this has got a bigger feel to it.
Yeah, no doubt. The NCAA tournament, one of the most heavily bet sporting events, and has been for quite some time now. Again, people think it's a Super Bowl, but keep in mind the Super Bowl is 1 game, folks. The NCAA tournament spans over a course of 3 weeks, so more games, more money spent, more money, and generates a lot of interest. So again, Doug, you could find him at docsports.com. You could find him with us every Monday and Thursday. This is a special edition today because of the NCAA tournament, but starting next week, it'll be a Monday and Thursday thing. And baseball, we'll start talking about that very soon, but we still got a lot of college basketball. We got some NBA to talk about. Doug's a fabulous NHL handicapper. And Doug, how's the golf treating you?
Yeah, the personally, like I said, I'm not doing it at Docs this year, but personally, it's going very well. So I'm happy with the results thus far. And we got the Masters coming up in a couple of weeks too, Ross.
Yeah. So again, you won't be able to find his picks at Docs in golf, but everything else, NHL, NBA, XFL, college basketball, this is the guy to turn to at docsports.com, one of the finest in the country. Docs has been around for 51 years now. And certainly longevity speaks volumes in this industry. Like I've said time and time again, you can find me at rbwins.com. If you catch this video today, I had 4 plays for today. One of them's already underway. I had San Diego State in the early game. Last I looked, I think Doug brought it to my attention. They were up 17. So looks like a good.
Got an update for you.
Sure.
21.
Wow. San Diego State up 21. And Doug has the under in that game. So I hope that cashes in as well. And I'm going to have 3 other picks. I have 2 A real rarity, folks. 2 10-star top plays going on Saturday evening. One comes in the Northwestern UCLA game, and the other comes in the Alabama and Maryland game. So keep an eye on that, folks. My college basketball 10-star top plays, 109 and 81 in my last 190, good for 57%. And dime bettors over that course of time, over $19,000. My college basketball ATS sides, 11 and 6 with my last 17. College basketball totals, 42 and 25 with my last 67, good for 63%. NBA totals, 23 and 16, 59% over my last 39. So a lot of good things happening in rbwins.com. And best of all, folks, if you buy from me in terms of a daily or multi-game package, even a subscription plan, if you don't make a profit, I will credit your account your exact purchase price, and you could use that at any time toward any purchase you like. That's rbwins.com. Once again, Doug at docsports.com. That's docsports.com. Until the next time, for Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, we'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Don't forget, folks, give us a like. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit your alert bell, and you'll be notified right away upon any of our Winner's Circle sports betting podcasts going up on this channel. Until the next time, like I said, we want to wish each and every one of you all the very best of luck. Take care and God bless, folks.